Welcome to Vedic Mathematics Basis Values classes. Today we are entering phase 4 of this series of lectures. We can recapitulate that in the first phase we have been exposed to the initial values, initial features, initial presumptions and the starting points of Devanagari alphabet and of the Sthapatya miring rod. And then we have reached at the values table in terms of which we have to enter the mathematical domains of the Ganita Sutras. There are 16 Ganita Sutras and each Ganita Sutra has its structural key, distinct mathematical domain and the processes of end reach values. Ganita Sutra 1, Ekadhiken Purve, is the source sutra. It is the source sutra as the 16 letters availed for composition of the text. Ekadhiken Purve, the text of Ganita Sutra 1, preserves the structural keys of the Ganita Sutras. The 16 letters as reservoirs, as preservers of the structural keys is the first thing which we have to keep in mind. Then the first letter of each Ganita Sutra preserves, makes available the hint for the mathematical domain of the particular sutra, and the last letter of each Ganita Sutra gives us the end reach value of the mathematical domain. And so in terms of the structural key, the initial mathematical domain value, and in terms of the last letter value of a reach value, we can have some insight how we have to proceed, how we have to enter into, how we have to be face to face with, how we have to glimpse, how we have to comprehend, how we have to proceed. All these questions, all these features about the mathematical domains of Ganita Sutras at initial stages give us in terms of these letters. Today we are entering the mathematical domains of Ganita Sutras. Ganita Sutras are 16 in number and each Ganita Sutra is a complete scripture, it is a complete mathematical domain. This way there are 16 mathematical domains. These are interconnected mathematical domains. Ganita Sutra 1 to we have to reach Ganita Sutra 2, from Ganita Sutra 2 and sequentially to 3, and ultimately you have to reach at Ganita Sutra 16. So these are 16 mathematical domains. These 16 mathematical domains are integrated and make one single integrated mathematical domain of Ganita Sutras. We also can recapitulate that transition from Ganita Sutra 1 to Ganita Sutra 2 is to be in terms of the values and features of Ganita Sutra 1. So 13 Ganita Sutras fill in the gap in between the pair of Ganita Sutras. So the gaps between the 16 Ganita Sutras are filled, bridged by the values of Ganita Sutras. 16 Ganita Sutras together with 13 Ganita Sutras together as integrated as Ganita Sutras, making the bridges, filling the gaps of the mathematical domains of the Ganita Sutras, give us one mathematical domain. From today we are taking up how we can glimpse and imbibe the values of mathematical domains. Therefore, phase 4 is the phase focusing upon how to glimpse and comprehend the values and features and other processing aspects and other all connected aspects of the mathematical domains, or in fact we can say the mathematics of each Ganita Sutra is to be chased as complete scriptures, complete mathematical domains, and then in terms thereof by these 16 phases of reach from Ganita Sutra 1 to Ganita Sutra 16, we will be having comprehension of the integrated mathematical domain of Ganita Sutras. Today we are initiating ourselves for glimpsing and comprehending the mathematical domain of Ganita Sutra 1. Ganita Sutra 1 is the source sutra. It is the source sutra as the 16 letters of this text are preserving or supplying the structural keys. Ganita Sutra 1 is the source Ganita Sutra as its letters are the source reservoirs of the structural keys of Ganita Sutra 1 to Ganita Sutra 16. We shall make a specific entry in our Transcendental Code Values Dictionary that in this phase 4 of the lecture series we are initiating ourselves for glimpsing and imbibing the values, features, processing steps and all other connected aspects of the mathematical domains of the Ganita Sutras. And beginning for it is going to be with Ganita Sutra 1 itself. Ganita Sutra 1 is a source sutra, as such initiating ourselves as such by having glimpsing of the features and values of mathematical domain of Ganita Sutra will actually lay the firm foundation and will provide us the deeper insight, the insight and enlightenment about the mathematical domain of the Ganita Sutras is to be laid upon the foundation of our insight to glimpse and comprehend the values and features of Ganita Sutra 1 itself. Ganita Sutra 1 is with its first letter or is the structural key. Therefore, the structural key of Ganita Sutra 1 is preserved in its first letter of value 6. We can recapitulate that 6 value takes us to 6 space, then further it takes us to 6 space content, and from 6 space content we reach at its manifestation as 6 space domain, and this domain fold will takes us to hypercube 6, the representative regular body of 6 space, and with it the mathematical domain of Ganita Sutra 1 as well, because of the first letter itself becomes the mathematical domain. Therefore, Ganita Sutra 1 is at such a position that its structural key is also provided by its first letter, and its mathematical domain as well is provided by the first letter itself. We can have a pause here and take note that number 6 is a value. It is the value of a first perfect number. The first perfect number, and then it is a unique perfect number. It is unique as it is in this case the sum of the proper divisors is 6 and multiplication product of this is also 6. This is the only perfect number in respect of which this feature, this property is available. The sum of the proper divisors is equal to value 6. The product of the proper divisors is also equal to value 6. It is the only perfect number, it is the first perfect number, and it is the only perfect number which is having this particular feature, that summation value and the product value is the same. It is this feature we have to be very sensitive. We have to be very sensitive in absorbing it. We should be very sensitive, we should be very cautious to have comprehension of these features. We should glimpse this particular feature, that here the summation value as well as the product value is going to be 6. Further, the 3 proper divisors 1, 2 and 3 makes the unique triple of our whole numbers, of our integers, of our natural numbers, because 3 is the first odd prime, 2 is the first even prime, and this is the only pair of consecutive numbers 2, n and n plus 1, both being prime. Therefore, it is, and 1 is also such a number. It has no divisors other than 1 itself. 2 is also having no divisor other than 2. 3 is also having no divisor other than 3. But and they themselves. So 1 is its own divisor and it has no other divisor. 2 is its own divisor and 1 other than 1, it has no other divisor. So these three are non-composite numbers. 1, 2 and 3 is the only triple in which there are non-composite numbers. This is the only triple of the natural numbers. Therefore, it adds further feature to this particular value 6. It is here because of it, we shall be understanding it, that 6 provides us the structural key, and here the mathematical domain as well is coming to be value 6. Value 6, as we have seen, is a unique value. It is a perfect number. It is a unique perfect number as that its factors are the 3 factors, 3 proper divisors are there, and these 3 proper divisors are non-composite number. It is the only triple which is makes, it is the only triple of non-composite numbers coming as a sequentially 3. There are no other set of 3 consecutive natural numbers, whole numbers, which are non-composites. Then it has all the 3 in a uniqueness, because 1 is the number which is the having no divisor other than itself. 2 is the only even prime. 3 is the first odd prime. And these 3 are non-composite numbers. It is the only triple of non-composite numbers. And 2 and 3 are the only pair of primes as a consecutive numbers. Therefore, all these features will make it a very unique. And this uniqueness of this value 6, and this uniqueness as a structural key, and this uniqueness as a 6-space domain, these all features must be attended to. One shall be face to face with it when we have to glimpse and imbibe the mathematical domain of Ganita Sutra 1. Now, to comprehend a particular mathematical domain, we have to comprehend as to what is the processing system, what are the steps in terms of which the mathematical domain of Ganita Sutra 1 and like that of any Ganita Sutra is to be attended to, is to be reached at, is to be worked out, and it is to be availed, it is to be attained. Therefore, the mathematical domain of Ganita Sutra 1, Ekadhikain Purve, with the structural key as L of value 6 and mathematical domain as 6-space domain. It is a domain of a hypervolume 6. This hypervolume 6. Then question is how to enter this particular domain. The processing step of how to enter a 6-space domain. We can recapitulate that 6 is the number of the Surya. It is a Surya Ank. It is number of the sun. Therefore, actually we are entering within the sun. It gives a mathematical domain of sun, and simultaneously we also know that it is the domain of a Purusha. It's a human frame. It's a human body. Therefore, the mathematical domain is having a processing system, and this processing system is embedded in this particular sutra itself. This, for reaching at this particular processing system, then we have to revisit this particular text, and this text is to be revisited sequentially in terms of its letters and what formulations these make, how many word formulations are sequentially being reached at. We can see that this formulation is having one subformulation, ek, which literally means, which simple rendering is having 1. And we also have in this particular composition a another formulation, adhik, which is more than. And then this also has a formulation which is a K, which is a question mark, then what? And the second phase of it takes a formulation, pur. This pur means previous. This pur also means the east. And then it has the formulation in, means the block, the end, the bond, the bound, the limit, the reach step, where up to what it reaches. Therefore, when we will be chasing this particular composition, we'll be knowing it one more than what the previous one, the previous bound. One more than what? It is the question. So, eka adhikain purvain, eka adhikain is raising a question. The question is, one is more than what? The question is, to what one is more than? Therefore, here the answer comes to be in the second formulation. Therefore, sadhakas shall reread, revisit, and visit it in the sequential order of its composition. And when we will be rereading it, revisiting it, when we will be understanding it sequentially in the sequence of the composition itself, we will see that it is a sutra, means it is a one composite formulation. This formulation is of two parts, and the first part is raising a question, and second part is giving us an answer. The question is, one is more than what? One is more than what? And the answer is previous bound. Previous bound. What is the previous bound of a 1? It is 0. So 1 is more than 0. 1 is that, and it is that much. 1 is that, and it is that much. How much is more than? 1 more than. How much? 1 is that, and it is more than. What? How much? The previous bound is 0, so it gives a definition of a 1. Let us have a pause. The text of Ganita Sutra 1, Ekadhikain Purve, is a one composition, one formulation, one entity which is put into two parts. One is being divided into two parts. Here, one is being viewed as two. And in the reverse way, we can say this here is a composition which makes 2 as a 1. Now, when we have the two parts, it makes it a dimonad. We are working with a dimonad. This Sutra 1 is of two parts. It has two entities. It has two monads. There are two monads. There is a pair of monads. First monad is this, and second monad is this. This sutra is a dimonad. Therefore, the Ganita Sutra 1 is chasing its mathematical domain, chasing its domain as a dimonad. One shall make a specific entry in one's TCV dictionary as that the mathematical domain of Ganita Sutra 1 is being chased, has a processing rule, has a processing system. The processing system is of the composition of the format of a dimonad. Monad is being chased as a dimonad. One is being made into two parts. The second feature which we have to write is that this dimonad is having of a situation. It is of a situation that it is, one is a previous part and another is the subsequent part. Previous and subsequent is the sequential reach. It is a sequential composition. It is a sequential placement. So dimonad has two parts. One part is a previous part and another part is a subsequent part. And simultaneously we can see that dimonad is having a pair of orientations. Dimonad is having a pair of orientations. These pair of orientations are to be viewed, and these pair orientations, let us make this as a format of a dimonad. Now let us shade one of its parts, separate it. So it is the first part, it is the second part, it is the dimonad. Both are the distinct parts. Now it is in this orientation we are reaching. If we are proceeding towards east, Purv, we are reaching from west to east. Therefore this is one orientation. But simultaneously we can see that we can approach this as like this. It is the first part and it is the second part. It becomes the second orientation. We are coming from east to west. Therefore, ekadhiken purve. Now, if it is the subsequent part, and if it is the first part, then how it will look like? It is like this, that we are having a particular surface of a pair of faces. One face is this and another face is this. This is possible in a 3 space. A surface within a 3 space. A plate within a cube. Now these are pair of faces. So ultimately this dimonad will be taking us from one face to another face. All these features are inherently embedded in this particular structure. This structure as such takes us that we are working one as a two. We are working this on the format of a dimonad. We are approaching this mathematics and mathematics of a two. That means the one more than before, which on the simple rendering gives us a sequential progression. We are sequentially progressing. If our unit is 1, from 1 we reach 1 plus 1 as a 2. But if we here take it 1 as 2, then it will take us 2 plus 2. It is here when we will see that mathematics of Ganita Sutras is the integrated, complemented mathematics of sutras, bridging the gaps in terms of the Ganita of Sutras. Therefore, the mathematical domain of Ganita Sutra 1 is in fact to be approached in terms of the mathematics of Ganita Sutra 1, integrated by, complemented by Ganita of Sutra 1. This Ganita Sutra Ekadhiken Purve is a scripture of his 16 letters. And this Anurupe is a scripture of 10 letters. Therefore, it gives us a composition that this mathematic approach, this processing approach, is to take us from 16 to plus 10 is equal to 26. And how to work out this mathematics, how this mathematics is working. But before that, we can see that what is the simple rendering of the formulation Anurupe. Therefore, this one shall make an entry in one's TCV dictionary that the mathematics of Ganita Sutra 1 is to be approached in terms of the processing process, the inherent processing steps embedded in this formulation, and with complementation of the process embedded in the formulation Anurupe. Anurupe. This formulation Anurupe gives us Anu means to follow. Rupe, Roop is the form. In, as it is bound, as it is framed. Therefore, we have to follow the form as it is framed. It is symmetry. It will be proportionately. In terms of number values, it is proportionately can be said. Geometrically, it can be symmetry can be said. And symmetry also is to be taken up in the proportionate forms. Follow the form as it is framed. Ekadhikain purvain, to follow the form as it is framed, and when it gives us, it takes us say 1 to 1 plus 1, then proportionately, symmetrically we can also take from 2 to 2 plus 2, and like that from n to n to n. It is here when we will be knowing that sequential progression, this rule of sequential progression is the rule of Ganita Sutra 1. It is the rule of the mathematical domain of Ganita Sutra 1. The rule is sequential progression, one more than before, and it is of both orientations. It is of number 2. So we are taking it as if 1 is to be worked out as 2, and in the proportionately in the symmetrical form we can also take 2 is to be approached as 1. This is the mathematics which will be taking us actually 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, and 2 multiplied by 2 also equal to 4, and minus 2 multiplied by minus 2 also taking us to 4. Here the addition and multiplication operations get superimposed, and orientations also get superimposed. It is this superimposition which we have to actually have an insight about. We have to comprehend these features, that Ekadhikain purvain, Ganita Sutra 1, when is to be worked out along with Ganita Sutra 1, Anurupain. It is this working. Now, here the value is 16. Here the value is 10. Let us again see. There are 9 letters here, and there are 7 letters. So, this working, this gap is 2. Therefore, if the first step is of particular value, the second step is of another particular value, and the difference between 2 will make a rule. And Ganita Sutra, Sutra 1 has a first letter which is of value 2. So this feature, together with the other features, when are combined together, then we will understand it that actually the mathematical domain processing process are influenced by many factors, by many formats. The first format, which we have said earlier, is of a Devanagari alphabet. Devanagari Varanamala. The second format is of a Sthapatya Mapdan. And the third is of O. This is the Vedic system of approach. It will be approached as a point, as a Bindu Sarovar, which means point reservoir, which in one way can be said as a structured point. Therefore, the mathematics of Ganita Sutras and the processing process of first sutra as such is to be taken in terms of the structured points. Now, this formulation Om in the Devanagari alphabet form is of a pair of compositions. It is of value 10, it is of a value 6, makes it an addition value 16. Therefore, we see that this formulation becomes the source formulation for embedding these structures within it and regulating it, the processing processes. First way, let us make an entry in our NCVT dictionary that to reach at the processing processes, the working rules of the mathematical domain's reach is in terms of it is to be regulated and prejudiced. It is actually to be conditioned by Devanagari Varanamala. The second thing we have to make it is the conditioning of format features of Sthapatya Meiring rod. And now the third aspect coming to be, it is to be in terms of a wholesome formulation Om. We know that Vedas to Vedanta means the essence values of Vedas, and from Vedanta to Vedanta Trayi, the end threefold values, which are nothing but Upanishads, Brahma Sutra and Srimad Bhagavad Gita. The end test values are to be found in the Gita. From Upanishads we have to go Brahma Sutra, and from Brahma Sutra we have to go Gita. Srimad Bhagavad Gita enlightens us about this formulation Om. Om iti ek akshar Brahm. The value 1 as such is the value of this formulation, or the value 1 is to be regulated, conditioned, formulated, channelized to have in values, to have a format, to have a features, to have a processing step, to lead us to a mathematical details by the source value of formulation Om. Therefore, the ultimate reach of the mathematics of Ganita Sutras is going to be in terms of the values supplied by the source formulation Om. This Om iti ek akshar Brahm. In Srimad Bhagavad Gita, we will see that there are 4 different places in 4 different synonyms. This formulation is as Om, as Pranava, as Om, and as Omkar. This formulation 1 is of a single syllable, is a one Om iti ek akshar Brahm. No, it is iti ek akshar Brahm, and it actually is of 4 synonyms. It unfolds itself in 4 parts. The first part would be Bindu, second would be Ardhamatra, third will be Tripundaram, and fourth would be Swastik Pada. We will coming to these details when we will be actually working out the mathematical domain of Ganita Sutra 1. And in terms of this mathematical domain, when we will be sequentially reaching at, and we will be sequentially unfolding ourselves, going from mathematical domain of Ganita Sutra 1 to mathematical domain of Ganita Sutra 16. Whole ranges are to be reached at. Now, the first thing which comes to be is that it is a formulation which gives us, which avails the format of a dimonad. It avails the value of a 2. As such, it is taking us to a 1 value to value 2. It is 1 space to 2 space. It is taking us from line to a square. It is taking us to hypercube 1. It is to hypercube 2. It is taking us that way that we will be working on a circle. Why will be working on a circle? Because the Ved is of value 20. It is a Dhwaj. It is a Ved Dhwaj. The Dhwaj Ank. Ank is value 8. It is Om iti. It is of value 8. Now it is Dhwaj. It is a flag. It is of value 20. Its TCV value is 20. Ved is of 20 value 20. And the Vrit is of also value 20. Now when we are working Kramshaha, sequentially, this Kramshaha It takes us from 1 to 2. It is the Kramsha, it is the Karam, it is the sequence. And this Kramsha, when it comes to Kram Samapti, it gives us a value from 13 to 26. 26 is 13 plus 13. Therefore, when we are working from Ved to a Vrit, it will give us a Ved Vrit. The Vedic mathematics is mathematics of a Vrit, of a circle. In the terminology of Vedic mathematics, a value of this will be reaching at a Vyas, it's a diameter. It is Ved Vyas, it is Maharishi Ved Vyas of a Purusha format. Within 6 space, this diameter is of a 6 space domain. When it is a diameter of a 6 space domain, it becomes Ved Vyas. It becomes the diameter of a Purusha format. And we will subsequently knowing that Vyas is a Maharishi Ved Vyas is having 28 transcendental numbers. It will take us from the mathematics of Ganita Sutra 1 to Ganita Sutra 2. Niklim Navasta Charmam Dashata, a scripture of 28 letters. We will coming to it subsequently. Therefore, let us make a specific entry in our TCB dictionary that to glimpse the mathematical domain of Ganita Sutras, initiating with Ganita Sutra 1, we have to have this particular format, and the format coming to be for chase of the processing steps of the Mathematical Ganita Sutra is that we have to work along the format, or we have to work out Ved Vrit. Ved Vrit is to be worked out. It will make a mathematics of Ved. Ved Ganit. We will find it out as in TCB values. Here is value 20 and here is value 18. And this as a domain and this as a dimension. So the mathematics of Ved Vrit is mathematics is a Ved of Ganit. It is of domain, from domain to reach at its dimension. This is the first step to be comprehended. The second step to be comprehended is that value 20, which is the value of a Dvaj, which is a Dvaj Ank, which is a flag point. The flag point 20, here is the value 0, here is value 2. We will be knowing it that 0 plays the role of dimension of 2. 2 as a domain takes us to 0. Surface takes us to its points, which is the dimension. So, in the context of working out the mathematics of Vrit, of a circle, when we are working out this mathematics, whole mathematics is to be worked along the mathematics. Here, it is we have to work out the circumference. We have to work out its center, Kendra Jaw. We will knowing it why it is Kendra Jaw. And then we will working out the Vyas, the diameter. And then we will be working out that if instead of a one point making this circle in a pair of orientations, and if we add one more point to it, therefore ekadhiken purve, if to the previous point on a circle we add another point to it, then what makes a mathematics? How the Ved Vrit is going to be changed? How this circle means this periphery, this boundary of 6 space domain, how the hypercube 6 space domain, which would be giving us a ratio A raised to the power 6 is to 12B raised to the power 5. It was going to be the 6th body of the Sthapatya miring rod. Hypercube 6, the 6th component of Sthapatya miring rod. Its boundary is a transcendental boundary and it is of a 12 components. We have to work out the transcendental boundary. It is going to be that Vrit. It is going to be that circle. In that circle, if we are having all one point, then if we will add another point, then how this boundary is being changed. Secondly, how this arc would be there, how this secant would be there, how this area would be there, how it would be worked out, the entire domain of it would be worked out. And then ultimately that how by having a sequential addition, anurupe, when we go on applying this as points over it, the n number of points will, and then we'll be making it a particular polygon. When this polygon will ultimately become a continuous one, it would be reaching at a value 130. It would be making it a circumference of 123, as we have seen in terms of the values table of the Ganita Sutra. All these aspects, as these are to be simultaneously taken out. These all things will make out together the mathematical processing process of Ganita Sutra 1. How the Ganita Sutra 1 will take us from as one composition, one sutra, to a setup of a dimonad of a two parts. One as a 2, it is one feature. How this value 2 is having a pair of orientations. And then how this value 2 is taking us from line to a surface. How we reach from line to a circumference. Then how we have to work out, ultimately we have to work out the line as a circumference. And here we will be knowing it, that 2 points have a single gap, 3 points have a pair of gaps. The number of points is one more than the gaps. The n points give us n minus 1 gaps. So the integrated domain is the n points together with n minus 1 points. It gives us 2n minus 1. So this mathematics then is to be worked out in terms of a dimonad. So ultimately we are reaching at that we have to work out this mathematics as a dimonad. Dimonad, in terms of a dimonad, we have to work out the circle. We have to work out this particular surface. This surface and to be worked out, and then ultimately we will be reaching at that from circle we have to reach at the square. The domain boundary ratio would be equal to pi r square 2 pi r, and here it would be a square is to 4 a raised to power 1. Domain boundary ratio is going to remain the same, provided here instead of r radius we are taking it a diameter. Then ultimately we will be coming to a situation that this square, this circle, this dimonad, this reaching from 1 to 2, and then working out this particular, then we will be having as square to be of 2 parts. When we will be working at half, 2 as a 1, 1 as a 2, it will be giving us a particular, it will be giving us a, say if as a right angle triangle, we will having this triple. If we have a more insight into it, glimpse it, it is having the area 6. So the Vedic system works out value 6, surface area 6, in terms of a right angle triangle of triple values 3, 4 and 5. If we see that this 3, 4, 5, 6 gives us the value 18, which is parallel to hypercube 3. And if we go extend and make it a transcendence range step further, it makes it a value 25. It is a value of a formulation Vishnu, presiding deity of 6 space. These all features I am pointing out, that these ultimately, all these features are the making out the mathematical domain of Ekadhike Purve. The first letter A of value 6 as 6 space. So letter A as value 6 as a 6 space, as 6 space content, manifesting as 6 space domain, making it hypercube 6, and it is making it a sun, Surya, it makes it a Purusha, and it takes us to a Vishnu, the presiding deity of a Sthapatya measuring rod synthesized by hypercubes of as many as 1 to 6 spaces, and the sixth element of sixth component is hypercube 6. It is a 6 space domain which stands swapped in terms of a Sthapatya measuring rod synthesized by hypercube 6. It takes us 6 space within a 6 space. Now, the mathematical domain of Ganita Sutra 1 is giving us a reach of swapping the format of manifestation of 6 space content along the Sthapatya measuring rod, and it gives us 6 space within 6 space, and it is the reach, it is the feature which we shall glimpse and imbibe to have a proper insight. Thank you very much.